Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third podcast session of Such a Film Podcast. My name is Chetan Bhupati, and welcome. This podcast session, as suggested in the title, we are going to be talking about Denis Villeneuve and his film and Dune. More so Denis Villeneuve than Dune, but stick around if you want to want to know my thoughts on Dune, the recent film that I had the pleasure of watching only in IMAX 3D because that's the only way how you watch it. Period. I don't care what else there is to it. That's the only way to watching it. So let's just leave it at that. So yeah. I'm gonna talk about all the films at least of what Villeneuve has to offer and exactly like what my sort of like ranking on his films are, and then what I'm excited for what my thoughts are on Dune, and what I'm excited for whatever Villeneuve has to offer in the future. So for those of you who don't know, Denis Villeneuve is an absolute mastermind of sorts. He's probably one of the better direct. He's probably one of the best directors working today right now. Um, he's like on that like I even call himself better than Nolan in pretty much every single way for me because everything about that film, everything about like his films are all like they're not only psychological and like very like concept driven, but they also have like this emotional quality to it that almost makes them unique to what Villeneuve has to offer. And he has his thoughts on like morality and like the duality of like the psycho like he pretty much focuses on pretty much what a character is and how that character so like functions throughout his entire film. And like he just crafts some of the best like visually stunning films in years, honestly. And that's honestly like just high praise for a man who's been working on the field since 1998, apparently. Oh God, 1998 apparently. Sorry, I don't. Why am I having hiccups? I have no clue. So yeah, but no, he's usually he's usually known for making those psychologicalness of it all, and recently he started making more big budgeted films, and which even though they aren't necessarily commercial successes, although Dune was a commercial success, he still manages to put so much quality and so much like filmmaking tactics and truly like showcases himself as like a true director, of course. And he isn't necessarily a writer in his films as he is more so of like the director type part of it, but I appreciate his films nonetheless. I haven't seen every one of his films, by the way. I haven't seen August 32nd on Earth. I haven't seen Maelstrom. I haven't seen Polytechnique. I haven't seen Incendies, which a lot of people have said is like his best film. And I haven't seen Enemy, which is the Jake Gyllenhaal double role film. Um, I heard that film is like it's 90 minutes long. It's like super confusing. There's a lot of people having like lots of theories on Enemy, so like I still haven't seen it. I think it's available on Canopy. If you're available in the library and you have Canopy available, I think Enemy is like free in Canopy or something like that, and you just have to like rent it. So I suggest go watch it there. And I think it's also in Hulu. I think I'm not sure, but Enemy is like a pretty like 2014 sort of like well not 2014 but like a 2013 sort of like recent film that you can just like view, I guess. So no, you'll find Enemy, I guess. I don't know. It's around, I guess. But I just need to see it though, so I just need to wait for that, I guess. Um, Sorry for saying I guess a lot. I don't know. It's just it's hard to have a structure when you don't really have a structure these days. That's the issue. But here I am right now, so at least there's that to it. At least I'm talking about film. That's really all that matters in this podcast is that I just talk about film. Um, let's let's begin from like um what my least favorite to like his most favorite. Which by the way, all of his films are like recommendations. Like if there's a film that I mentioned, it's pretty much gonna be good, like regardless of what I say, because we're talking Denis Villeneuve. So so yeah, so the first one, I guess, like my least favorite, that might have to go with Sicario. I'm not. It's sort of like a it's pretty much like a border film, I guess. It deals with like the Mexican sort of like drug conflict in the border, I think, and sort of like the terrorism that happens within the Mexican American border. And it features Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and Benicio del Toro as well. All three are fantastic in their roles. Plus, Villeneuve just understands how to get like actors to act in his films. Like if there's like an actor in a Denis Villeneuve film, they're pretty much like aces at acting. You know what I mean? So like he knows what he's doing when he's casting actors, and like Emily Blunt was really good. Josh Brolin was really good. Benicio del Toro was pretty good. Well, like really damn good actually. There's also like the cinematography as well. Again, he crafts like the most visually stunning films, and that's only due to Roger Deakins, who's one of the best cinematographers, if not the best cinematographer working today. Period. And like his work in Sicario is like on another level of like really good, honestly. Um, and there's also like that tale of like that choosing of like morality versus like actual like putting forth into what you have to like do and following the orders and stuff, and how the ambiguity of all the sort of like chaos and the madness that happens really forms a reflection on who you are as a person. It's a really great film, and I truly do recommend all of you to watch it. I just do think there are better films than Sicario, and I think the screenplay could be a bit better personally, but it's still a really damn good film, and I think a lot of people will really like it for sure. So yeah. Next film that I really like is it probably has to go to like yeah, it probably has to go to Prisoners. This is a Prisoners is the Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano mystery film about a missing girl, or I think two missing girls, I think, and sort of like exactly what in this small town exactly. It's like this whodunit of sorts as to like what's happened, but it's like it's very psychologically driven, and plus what Roger Deakins does for the visuals is that he truly has like everything in this like blue somber-esque sort of like snowy type environment where it just like really sets this mood of like this atmospheric mood of it all, and it's so well done, honestly. um and he manages also like, and that film also has some great performances as well, like not only Paul Dano and Olivia Wilde, but also like Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, he's obviously a great actor for sure, but the huge surprise was actually Hugh Jackman, who I have no idea why he hasn't gotten an Oscar for Prisoners, because that is a film that truly hinges on the fact of him having a great performance. I'm just gonna say it. That man should have gotten a performance that year. He is incredible as I think I forget what that character's name is, but he is just incredible as that sort of like as that sort of like father who like truly understands that he just wants to go through all sorts of lengths just to like find this girl, and you can tell he has a lot of like gray shades about him because he really tries to like really hinge on the fact that Paul Dano really is the guy who can like somewhat get a clue on things, and whereas Loki really tries to also like pin the points together and I really like the ending. I think it's wonderfully ambiguous, and it really proves just how wonderfully well crafted Denis Villeneuve can be with a film like this. It really does. Um, so yeah. Um, Next film that I really like, probably Dune. I'll go with Dune. So I guess here's my thoughts on Dune. I guess um, I I love Dune. I so Story time. I was telling my mom actually I need to see Dune in theaters. I can't afford to watch this film in HBO Max because we already have an HBO Max subscription. And I was like, let's just actually go to the theaters and support this film. And so my mom came with me to see the film, and we both sit in IMAX 3D, and it was truly a one of a kind experience. That Dune offers some of the most visually stunning experiences, theatrical experiences I've seen in my entire life. It is also the very first IMAX film I've seen in like ever in my entire life. So like it holds a pretty substantial sort of like aspect in terms of my whole like theatrical experiences so far, and it really works on so many levels. I mean, the acting is really great. I'm always a big fan of the story, and you can tell the story uses a lot of tropes, but a lot of it can be sort of like forgiven based off how like timeless and how like because I think it was like a 1960s or 1950s tale. I think you can tell like it really has that sort of like tropes on based of it, but like you can just tell like the scale, the vision, the scope of it all is just it's something to behold in the theater. Um, and you can just see Denis Villeneuve just absolutely craft making every single thing that he gets with as many opportunities as he has. He truly understands what Dune is about, I guess. And even though I still think I still haven't read Dune, and there's probably chances of Dune that hasn't been adapted into Denis Villeneuve's version. It's still a pretty damn good film for sure. It has some exciting action. It has some wonderful direction. The score, Hans Zimmer's score, is absolutely amazing. Um, you just have a bunch of people, a bunch of actors, a bunch of crewmates just going into a film, a big budget film, focusing on quality over just how much commercially successful it is, and you pretty much get what you have with Dune. And I am so excited to see what Dune Part Two has to offer. Um, it's hard to I can't really say this is Denis Villeneuve's best film, but my gosh, is it such a good film. I probably should rewatch it. I really should. Because there's a lot of things in Dune that I really like. I think that all the acting is really good from like Timothy Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, um, Javier Bardem. There's also Zendaya. She was in it a bit. I don't know. And there was also like Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa. Um, I think there was Stellan Skarsgård was also in there. Even Rebecca Ferguson, who I think delivered the best performance out of all of them with Lady Jessica role, and she was absolutely magnificent in that. So there's a lot of things to really behold in this film for sure, and yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with the fact that the film is like slow because it surely takes its time, but nowhere did I ever feel like it was slow because first off the visuals are goddamn insane and so goddamn good. And then you just have a great director and pretty much whatever he does is pretty much amazement. And when you have a film like Dune with that much ambition and scope, it really just proves to come that really Denis Villeneuve is probably one of the best successors of what Nolan had offered to film audiences in modern times. So yeah, this is Dune is really something. I can't really. I'm so excited for Dune Part Two. I'll talk more about anticipation later, but first I just want to talk about these two other films that he's made, and then I'll just move on to Dune Part Two, and we can end there. So, um, I guess yeah, my second favorite film of Villeneuve, Arrival. Yes, you heard me. It's Arrival. This is a science fiction film. All these are sort of like science fiction films, yes, but this is more of like an alien sort of like coming into Earth. And what happens in this film is the humans try to communicate with the aliens. So it's sort of like linguistic, sort of like humanistic type of approach to the tale. And I think Amy Adams is absolutely wonderful in the role. There's also Jeremy Renner is in it. Forget who else is in it, but um, frick. There's also Forrest Whitaker is in it. Starberg, Sima. Like, there's a lot of it is visually stunning. And also like Johan Johansson score. Like the late Johan Johansson score. He's so good at like really trying to like really keep the tension, but also rising up the humanity and things. It's probably his most human film he's made in quite a while, and you can tell there's definitely like cheese and sort of um a lot of like really like emotional moments with like cheesy dialogues here and there, but like it really sells on the emotional aspect of like exactly what it's like when you have the alien coming at you and you just experience all these sort of emotions with the past that you have and the future that you're about to witness or later. And the screenplay is still like something that just like really like bogs down your mind and like really makes you think. And I don't know, I love films that make me think, and Arrival certainly does that to many, many regards. So yeah, no, this is Arrival is certainly a film to like really marvel at for sure. So yeah, I should probably rewatch it. Actually, it's been a while since I've rewatched Arrival, so I might do that recently. So we'll see what happens. And then so yeah, hold on, guys. All right, sorry guys, I'm back. So yeah, no. So yeah, my favorite Villeneuve film. If you've been counting down the Villeneuve films that I've talked about, this should come as no surprise. Blade Runner 2049. This film is a masterpiece in every single way. I know it's like a film bro type term thing to like really love this film, but I don't care. I love 2049. It somehow manages to exceed the original Blade Runner classic and makes a much more emotional, much more driven, much more thematically like engaging film than the original film, because the original film is still pretty good, but like it's really really slow, not gonna lie, and there's a lot of points to it where it's just like, well, it could have delved things a lot better. And partly was due to the time because it was out of like Akira's success, and you have like Ridley Scott, who was like a really fresh director, and like 2049 really has its skill of what Villeneuve is really all about, and it is marvelous. It's a marvelous film. It's a visually stunning film. I remember I was literally watching the film in my phone, and I was going, man, I should have seen this in the theater. I really should, because Roger Deakins' visuals for Blade Runner 2049 are one of his career's best for absolute sure. It's one of his career's best visual works for sure, because the visuals in 2049 look absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm pretty sure like my wallpaper in my iPhone is literally like the screenshot of like the orange background with like Ryan Gosling sort of like walking towards somewhere and like the orange cloud and all. It's just it's so good. It's the visually it's outstanding. Um, and I mean, do I need to say more? Do I really need to say more about Blade Runner 2049? It has amazing visuals, has a great story, it's very emotionally driven, has some really memorable quotes, not gonna lie, and it's incredibly engaging. I know it some people can say it's slow, but like with those visuals, is it really, really slow? I don't think so. I really don't. It actually feels like you really experience like an epic of sorts in the best way possible. And because I remember after watching it, I was like, there was so much that happened. You know, I should watch it again just to experience that whole process of it all, that whole sort of thing to it. It's a wonderful film. It's a wonderful screenplay. Villeneuve truly outshines himself. Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas. Like it's such a good film. The score is absolutely like transcendent, and it's just it really puts you into the mood of that world that Blade Runner is set in, and it is it is just a really cool film, and I absolutely adore it. I think to this day it's still Villeneuve's best film. Granted, with Dune Part Two, it could be changed, but I think this is certainly his best works, and quite and a work that really shows just how like insanely talented Villeneuve is, and I have no idea why it's considered like a commercial flop. Like this should have been a hit. This should have reached to audiences and been like, "Hey, look, this is an actually good film you will actually enjoy," because it's one of those films that really is better than the original. It's one of those sequels that's like better than the original source material, and it's just it's an absolute like achievement in all sorts of levels. It's just it's so good. I love Blade Runner 2049. Um, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I don't know where you can find it though. I think it's an HBO Max or an Hulu Premium. Either way, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous film. It is a visual achievement. It is everything I love about film and more. It is certainly a film that I would say is Villeneuve's best film. And if you haven't seen it, even though it is R rated, if you haven't seen it, please, please, please go watch it. Please, like, certainly do. It is so good. So yeah. What are my thoughts on Dune Part 2? I don't know. So I haven't read the Dune books first off, so I can't really say what I'm excited for Dune Part Two. But I can definitely say after all I've said earlier about Villeneuve, Dune Part Two will certainly be another visual achievement, and it'll have once again a great score, great direction, wonderful performances, and with the story like Dune, I'm pretty sure this film will. I know it'll be better than the first film for sure, and it's a film that's worth telling. It's a film that's worth giving out to the audience. And as I'm so happy for the fact that we actually have a sequel to Dune, and you know what? I'm looking forward to Dune Part Two. It is something that I'm definitely going to witness again in the theaters. It's not going to be an HBO Max thing. It's not going to be me looking at the phone every single night watching a single film type thing. It is something I'll go to the theaters in the day or in the night, go sit in the halls, sit in the theater seat right in the damn center of the theater, and just watch the film and on the big screen and with humongous sound and absolutely scopic visuals. That film will really really work, and I don't know when it's going to be releasing. They said it's 2023, so I'm just going to assume it's 2023, and believe me, I will be there in 2023 watching that film because I don't know what will happen if I don't. I really don't. It's one of those films that I just have to see in theaters for sure. And if I miss out on it, it's gonna be like one of those films because I haven't seen. Part of what makes Dune so special to me is that I haven't seen Endgame or like Infinity War or like um Interstellar or like Blade Runner 2049 in theaters. So like there's a lot of like visually creative and absolutely astonishing visually creative films in theaters that I just haven't gotten the chance to see. And so like Dune was like one of those like very first films of that sort of like thing, and plus it's like the very first IMAX film that I've ever seen. So like that really holds a lot to me, personally, because like that whole experience of like the humongous sound just like bursting at you and like seeing like this visual and the story and being invested in the characters and seeing everything that's happening is just it's such an experience. It really is an experience of all sorts. An experience where you can actually say, "Oh, I've actually watched a good movie," rather than "Oh, I've had a good experience." So it's something to behold for sure. I cannot wait for Dune Part Two. I really can't. So yeah. Don't know what else to say. I hope you guys check out Dune or Dune Part Two and all of other Villeneuve's films. I'll certainly check out Enemy and Insanities when I can, and I'll try to see if I can catch some of Villeneuve's earlier films as well. But other than that, I think that's all I have to say. Just if you haven't seen a Villeneuve film, by all means, please go watch it. I think he's an absolutely great director who completely deserves the support. Um, and I think yeah, I'm really excited for Dune Part 2. So, I mean, yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it at there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you later, in the next podcast session where I'm not sure what we'll talk about, but we'll certainly talk about something for sure. Um, so yeah, this is Jathan Bipathy, and as always, keep watching, keep commenting, and keep loving film. See you all. Bye.